Go for it, Ron.
Hey there, all you girls, boys, and non-binaries. This is your boy Ron Dawson coming at you with another episode of Dungeons and Do-Rags. Have a little bit of a different setup. This time, you're going to notice this is more of like a salt and pepper setup we have today. I'm not talking about my beard. Although I don't know how JD's doing the controls, so I don't know if he's gone to the 5-shot yet.
We're here now.
Where you would know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm following you. I'm just waiting for you to drop it.
We have the usual suspects, myself, Joseph, JD.
Hello. And it looks like
there's a lag, so we're going to have to deal with that. We have Javon and we have Adu. And we also have David. Now, David is the host of the Lorehounds podcast and the Lorehounds network of shows. How's it going, David?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for inviting me over.
Yeah.
Nice to have you.
So what? All right. So let's pick up the energy. What are we talking about today, Ron? It was hey, how you doing? Good, nice to meet you, Dave. This is Dave Mark. What's happening? Yo, this is bad. We can stop doing your crack. Come on, let's get the cocaine going. Right. Let's get it going. Where you at, Ron?
There's some kind of dude. There's some kind of delay going on.
Just proceed ahead.
Right.
Okay.
You know what makes it worse? When you lag you're speaking.
Yeah, when you add a lag on top of the lag.
Yeah. Not helpful.
It's a double lag.
Double lag.
Okay. Do a double lag. When Javon first came on, I wasn't sure if he was wearing a do-rag or a tiki. See, this is why probably because I started talking.
You were afraid to ask.
2 minutes ago.
I mean, you could have just asked.
Right. Are you scared?
See, you're responding.
There's a strange black man on the elevator, and I didn't want to look over at him and ask him a question. I didn't want to say hello.
And he was wearing a black mask. That's
his face.
I didn't get the chance to finish what I was saying. I wasn't sure if he was
because you're now lagging on top of your lag, on top of the lag.
And then
a triple lag. Oh boy! And now he just went out.
Triple T.
All right.
Frozen.
Here he is. He's faltering.
Yeah, I'm putting it backwards because of yesterday.
Hell of a week for the host.
Stop, Javon. You're scaring Ron. Javon, you're scaring Ron right now. Don't do that.
Stop all your sudden movements, Javon.
Keep your hands so we can see him. All right, so what's the topic for today, Ron? What are we doing? Uh-oh.
The goal of today was to talk about one battle or another, and which is really the theme of this show.
Wait, hold on, Ron. You broke up. It's one battle after another.
Battle.
Okay,
It's
you're
the
not
theme of the
lagging.
recording.
Oh, now you're like,
You guys may have to do this show without.
I mean,
yeah,
that would be a dream come true.
You may have to do this without me.
Is it your Wi-Fi, man? Get off the hotspot.
Yeah.
Now the only battle we have is with your participation.
Right. Well, it's connecting to a flip phone. What are you doing, Ron?
Using the neighbor's Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
All right, JD, let's do it.
What? Say again, Ron?
Here, let's do this. We have two choices. I was gonna say JD take over, but then his audio is all tweaked out, so having a lot would be an issue.
What if you turn off your video?
So maybe we should just emulate life and let the white man take over.
What if you turn off your video, Ron, and then JD can just put a static image in post over your face?
Like this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What was you grinning and eating watermelon?
Going with the Otay. When you have the Otay and you got the
image everyone has of you anyway.
They used to call me Buckwheat Otay.
Sipping on some Kool-Aid.
This is gold right now. This is gold. Well, I mean, we're rolling. We're rolling. No, listen, everybody out there. You might hear an echo on my end because I like Bobby, Jimmy, and the Critters, and so this is a throwback to him. I like the echo. But and Eric B and Rakim. So But Ron keeps popping in and out. Okay, he's come back, I think.
Well, I'm trying David's idea to see if
just-
turning up.
Oh, okay. So now we have now we have Morgan Freeman. Now we have Ronald Freeman, just the disembodied voice of Ron, hovering all over us as God, the God figure.
The god of lag.
Right.
Especially where mine. What did he say?
He called you the God of lag.
What did he say?
A dude called you the God of lag.
Oh shoot!
I don't get that.
Wow. Not shocking.
Right.
Not shocking. And once again, your card.
I mean,
Your card is in danger. I mean, just your basic human card is in danger.
Right.
Is that a black thing?
No, it's an English thing.
Now you got Dave is cracking up. Dave is just
We might have
beside
to
himself.
revoke-
Yeah.
Out the
We
microphone.
might have to revoke your competency card.
Right.
The audio actually sounds fine though.
Yeah, your audio sounds good. Your audio sounds great.
Function is in question. Oh, here he comes back. I gotta see what's happening. I gotta
Right.
see what's happening. You can always see. We don't need to see you.
I can.
Oh, you're not lagging anymore. Don't lose that energy. Wait, you're seriously not lagging
Okay.
anymore. Don't lose.
Yeah, you're good.
You're on. You're synced up.
Okay, well, you guys
Go.
were laughing at
Go.
the. All right,
So listen, tell Virginia and all the kids and everybody in the house to stay off the internet at the same time with you. That's what's doing it.
Don't stop playing Fortnite.
Right. They're all on TV. They're all streaming.
Flushing toilets.
Right. Tell them don't do anything. Nobody breathe. Just sit them at the
God
table.
of Black joke.
What?
It was just funny. It was just funny.
It was just funny. He called you the God of lag. The God of lag. That's all. There's nothing racial about
You were
it.
laughing as if it
to
was
it.
some kind of specific reference to something.
Yeah.
You
No,
lagging?
no, just your reference,
It's a
referential to
specific
you.
reference to
Anyway.
your specific internet.
Oh, now we
connection.
lost.
Oh,
you.
now you're lagging. It's the window.
Javon is here.
We shouldn't worship the God because then the power comes back.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is gonna make for a real cool podcast. Ron's just hovering in like a specter. He's just coming in and out like a Hogwarts ghost. All right.
Minecraft video.
We're here to talk about one battle after another. And we want to have Dave on because JD and I were on his show, which now we lost JD.
No,
Ron,
he's there.
Ron, I'm here, dude. Don't.
Ron,
Did you guys lose JD?
no, Ron.
No.
Everybody's here. Ron,
Just
go
roll.
back to no video. I like the disembodied voice. Because this video is disturbing.
Okay,
You keep
I'll go back to no video.
glitching and stopping and freezing. Yeah.
There we go.
Just
Okay,
use your
there.
voice. You're the invisible Ira Glass.
Yeah.
So Dave had JD and I on his show, and it went a lot. I'm using my voice.
You're good.
Now
Keep
now
rolling.
Your audio is terrible.
Who are you talking to?
Just roll.
Why are you just
Go, go, go,
stopping
go.
me?
And
Nah,
David had JD and I on his show. It went a lot smoother than this. Believe it or not, Dave, it's usually not this bad. It's bad, but it's usually not this bad. And we wanted to talk about one battle after another.
He's
'cause
lying,
it's
Dave.
been in the
This is the norm.
zeitgeist. It's been something that people have been talking about. We were going to talk about it last week, but everyone hadn't seen it yet. And Dave, let's start with you. What did you think of the movie? Did you like it? And do you fetishize black women? No.
Yes, I liked it, and no, I do not fetishize black women. I try not to fetishize.
Do you
too much.
appreciate black women, David?
Sure, absolutely. I have a few black women friends, and I
Somebody
never
said
asked
answer.
them.
Good answer.
I know not to ask to touch their hair. I understand that. I'm an ally. I'm in the ally group.
All right.
Yeah, I thought the movie. I didn't know what I was walking into. One of our other community in our podcast group, Anthony, had texted me saying, "Hey, are we going to do a one shot on? We're going to do a cast on that." And I was, I think I said, well, is DiCaprio in a Lebowski robe with like old man glasses that my dad used to wear. And I was like, I don't know what this movie is. I had no pre-press on it, nothing. And if Anthony says, you got to see this movie, I usually listen to what he has to say. And they have a very funny podcast called Properly Howard, and him and his buddy Steve, who's a stand-up comic, do a bunch of movie stuff. And so I saw an afternoon matinee at my local little town theater. Movie starts up. I'm thinking it's a trailer for another movie, because they just didn't play any trailers. They just went straight in with Tiana Taylor, pacing back and forth above the little internment camp thing. And then suddenly, DiCaprio's on. And I'm like, oh shit, this is the movie. And I had no idea what the story was, what the context of the movie was. And at some point in the first sort of 5-10 minutes or something, I had that transcendent moment where my eyes popped open and my jaw sort of dropped, and I was just in a trance watching this movie, because I haven't had that many recent experiences of that. Dune 2, Villeneuve's Dune 2 did that to me when the dudes were floating up the mountainside. I was like, wow, cinema magic is happening here. And then the movie shook me in a lot of ways. It's terrifying when you think about how kinetic and how effective paramilitary trained forces can be, and how they just they're getting their rocks off on ripping off doors and chasing down people and doing all their little tactical moves up stairwells and things like that. They just live for that stuff.
Yeah.
When you think about that reality of right now, what's going on. So that really shook me. But then I was confused, because it's a funny ass fucking movie. It was making me laugh. And then there's postpartum depression, and how do we deal with, Perfidia Beverly Hills, and then the daughter, all this stuff. And it was just, I walked out really disoriented but satisfied as a moviegoer. So I mean, I have a hard time seeing anything else besting this for Best Picture, and I don't know how many it's going to get. VistaVision, all the cinematography stuff. This thing is just a juggernaut, and I don't know that anybody's gonna, we'll have to see how the Academy thinks about it. But man, it is a film of the times, which is wild when you think how long he's been making this thing. And it's a film of a moment. And I think that's undeniable. And then there's a million different layers, like we talked about when you guys came over on my show. There's just a million different things going on. And I think it's one of these kinds of movies that we're going to be talking about and flipping it over and examining all the different aspects for a minute or two.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's crazy because you think about how, I think literally the week it came out, our actual government had the immigration, ziplining down on from a helicopter onto a compound, and then handcuffing little kids and dragging them out in the street and whatnot. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy, pretty amazing how everything timed up like that. Adu, what about you, man? You saw it. What were your thoughts?
I had a similar reaction as Dave. I found it. I had no idea what I was going into, even though I saw the trailer. The trailer kind of comes off like a spoof. So I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be more of a comedy. I got anywhere from Raising Arizona vibes to, just a Coen Brothers movie, basically.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Mm-hmm. So when it opens, I'm like, okay, no, this is something different. Something else is going on here. I found it to be very topical. I didn't get as a black man in America. I'm probably a little desensitized to certain things just because I've been experiencing them most of my life. So it's it doesn't stand out to me anymore. The one thing that stands out to me in the movie is sort of the white supremacy angle. Mm-hmm. And how, how PTA kind of approached that with the whole Christmas Vacation Club, which I thought was hilarious.
Christmas Adventure Club,
but at the same time, terrifying.
Yeah.
Because it's just you could have this secret society under the guise of, just the name alone
Right.
is like
With
terrifying, because you're just like, oh yeah, these guys are just meeting, but
Right.
from the beginning it's something sinister.
with top echelon military people, which is
Oh my
frightening.
goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, the access and the power of these guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sean Penn's character,
I thought he was amazing.
out there, just amazing. Just his portrayal. I mean, from the start with that first scene with Tiana Taylor.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, Sean's going for it. So yeah, some of the things that have been talked about online about the fetishization of black women, and I mean, some of that did jump out at me, like when Tiana's on the shooting range and she's got the big pregnant belly.
Yeah.
I found it kind of silly though, more than insulting. It was just like, okay, it's just
that seemed like a Cohen moment, like something like
Paul is trying something different here.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff, like some of the sex interaction scenes with Tiana and Sean, yeah, they kind of pushed it, but I never felt like, oh, this character or this actor is being exploited in some way.
Yeah.
I didn't get that overall feeling.
Which is like a lot of the commentary or critiques of the film.
Commentary and criticism, that's where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Is that, black women are being exploited. I didn't get that. I can see, once you break it down, I can see how that can be interpreted.
Well, hang on to that thought, because I want to come back to this, but let me hear Javon real quick and see what your initial reaction was to seeing it.
Going into it, I'm almost positive there were two trailers, and there was one trailer that showed you the spoof of it, kind of like that it was a spoofy thing, and one that showed you the kind of, like you were talking about, JD, the paramilitary, like, and I didn't know, because I saw both trailers, so I felt like I knew what the movie was about, but I didn't know the tone going in, because both were pretty different. And I mean, we all talked about the movie and how it was and how it felt. Because I wear glasses and I'm not always the perfect person to see visuals, I did go see it in the Vista Vision, whatever, and at the Vista.
Nice.
Man. And actually, I went to the bathroom right before it started and put on my contacts, which I hadn't done all year. And you saw...
You had the blue contacts?
Yeah, I put them in. You saw Sean Penn's pores.
Put on the nightshade contacts.
Right.
Sean Penn's pores were like 2 feet wide. You saw everything, and
he might have been on ketamine during filming.
Maybe. I think he was on something, because the veins popping out of the arms.
Yeah, he was yoked. He got yoked for this role. Yeah,
he was on the Rock's Roid program.
He did something.
That was crazy, and so the visuals of it were one thing, and yeah, everything else was just kind of weird. I thought that Leonardo DiCaprio, and I loved what can I think of his name? I love
Benicio. Yeah.
I wish he had maybe even more screen time.
Yeah.
But it was good enough to make you be like, okay, he's kind of in the background of all this stuff. And maybe if he had more screen time, he wouldn't feel like background. He'd feel like a little bit too in front. But I liked the movie. I still think that, Sean Penn, yes, Best Supporting Actor nomination should be. I'm still hoping for Sinners to get some stuff.
Yeah.
But
I've seen
this might be a little more broad in terms of what people like, because the first half of Sinners is still the best movie of the year, but then the second half, if you don't like that kind of genre stuff, if you don't like that kind of
blood and guts and horror,
then you're going to discount the whole movie. You kind of have
to.
Yes, but I don't know. I did like it. I liked it a lot, and it was weird, and it made conversation. People were sitting outside the Vista for at least half an hour, 40 minutes to the people.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's cool.
They were just talking about it.
Yeah. Well, for me, I saw it. I've seen it twice, and I've seen it again since I was on Dave's podcast, and I actually got to go to a PGA screening, and Tiana Taylor and Chase Infinity were there, who played Willa, and so I almost want to take back a lot of what I said, Dave, in your podcast, because at the time there was it was just hitting the press and everybody's having their critiques about it being all this black fetishization and things going on. But then when I saw it again, I felt like a lot of that criticism was unfair, because I tried to look at it as if you didn't know anything about the filmmaker, you just sat down and watched this film. That because I felt like a lot of the critique that was coming in was because, Paul Thomas Anderson's married to a black woman and he's expressing. But if you didn't, what if it was a black filmmaker? If you didn't know, what if it was a black female filmmaker? If you didn't know what, who made this film, you got to kind of judge it on that merit. And that's what I try to, clear my mind and went in. And when I saw it again, that stuff kind of fell away for me. It wasn't so prominent. I had more of a reaction, I think, like to you do. And I think even the first time, I think really I was influenced a lot with my thinking because of some of the articles I read, which aren't invalid, and some of the points they make about Hollywood in general, but they use this as a whipping boy to I think put a lot of their commentary in. But it's like, well, if you didn't know who made this film, what if Spike Lee made this film? Then are you saying the same thing? Or what? I think the discussion would be a little bit different, but some of it the same. I still believe in, I was talking to Dave about, they had, FD Signifier was talking about, whoa, here comes a ghost. A ghost has popped back in. Ron came back in. What's up, Ron? our looming specter.
If I'm still the god of laughs.
No, you're all seeing.
Yeah, you're good now.
For the next 5 seconds.
So anyway, we got a good 5 or 10 seconds with you. So anyways, I as we get into this, I think I don't know, Ron, if you want to add something real quick while you popped on, and then we can maybe dig into like our reaction, because I think the thing I would push back on is like film of the year. I think there's some, for me personally, when I watched it the second time, there were structural things that and film things I think could have been. First of all, it's 2 hours and 50 minutes, guys. It's really long, and I felt like it without losing. Well, there are some scenes I think they could have lost in the film that would have not affected the film whatsoever. Whereas, and for me, like I just saw. Now I'm drawing a blank. I'm getting old. Senior mom, the vampire joint. Ryan Coogler's Sinners. I just saw Sinners again too, and I loved it. And it's like when I saw it again, it's like, wow, it really hit me. So, but I enjoy both these films. But I would give the edge to Sinners only because I think storytelling wise, it did a better job of encapsulating the story and giving you the meat and potatoes. Where some of the stuff in this film. And one battle after the other was it could have been cut. There's just I'll bring it up only. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. You could like there's a scene where he goes to talk to Willa's teacher, and like you could have looked at that whole thing out of the movie. It did nothing for it, And then I also think it's really cool how like when Leonardo DiCaprio was when Bob was apprehended by the police and then went to the hospital and ultimately lands right back in the lap of Sensei. Yeah, it's like you could have cut a lot of that out, if not gotten rid of all of it. And I know it was fun to watch and everything, but again, we're talking about a 2 hour and 50-minute movie where ultimately you just end up with Leonardo DiCaprio back in the lap of Sensei. So I mean, you could have cut a big chunk of that stuff out. And even if you didn't lift whole segments, there are shots that we kept going back to, like the people in the hallway that were the immigrants that were getting ready to go in the tunnel. We went to them like 3 times. Like we just need one. We get it. We get the There's just a lot of things that felt kind of redundant and over that. Normally, if it was a 2 hour movie, I'd say perfect, keep everything. But it wasn't. And then also in the beginning, I felt like some of the raids. When they had the montage, well, first you have 2 key pieces. You have the where they spring all the immigrants out of the encampment at the border, and then you also have the bank robbery heist. But in between that, they showed a montage of all the activity they were doing, and some of that stuff I felt could have been trimmed down because we kind of got it, And you had these 2 big set pieces that that drew a lot of time. Which I watched my watch this time when I was in the screening. It was like 35 minutes. 35 plus minutes where we're just dealing with that first part of the film, which to me was all prologue. You could literally have cut that. I'm not saying you should have. I'm just saying technically the real story is about Lockjaw trying to kill his illegitimate daughter because he wants to get into the Christmas Adventure Club, and all that other stuff is germane to the story, very germane to it. But you didn't need you literally could have started with Willa doing a karate course or whatever, and we would have got the story. But I love the stuff with Tiana. I wouldn't suggest to cut it out, but it just speaks to the fact that things could have been trimmed down, in that first section to just give us the overall idea of what's going on, the intense relationship that Lockjaw and Tiana had, because I think that's important. But I just don't know. We needed 35 minutes of it, and especially with a skilled filmmaker like PTA, he should have been able to do that a little bit quicker. That was my 10 cents in a 2-cent frame.
That felt more like a quarter.
Yeah.
At least a quarter of the show. Okay, we're signing off, folks. Thank you for joining us.
All right, so next week we'll have another guest.
Next week we'll let other people.
No, I'm gonna shut up for the rest of the time.
I think I'm still a little bit of a lag, but I'll just chime in real quick and say I agree with a lot of what you all have said. I've seen it twice already myself, and for me, I feel like it's one of those movies that makes you sit and think. You sit on it. JD, was interesting when you were talking about if another filmmaker had made it, would people still be saying the things, or would you still be thinking of some of the things? And it makes you wonder, like, how much you can separate the filmmaker from the film, and how does your knowledge of the filmmaker inform how you receive the film? And ideally, I agree with you. Like, a piece of art should be able to stand on its own, regardless of the filmmaker. But when you do know the filmmaker, that is part of the film, in essence, right? So you do look at it differently, knowing, oh, he is the father of a biracial kid, and he has had that exact conversation about not knowing how to do his daughter's hair. And it does impact how you receive it. It does hit you in a different way. So, art is complex in the sense that it can stand on its own, but your knowledge of the author also informs it. I talk about the Bible a lot in some of my other content, and when you know the context of the writers of the Bible, it makes you receive verses differently than if you didn't know the context of when the Bible was written. And so you could read a particular verse on its own, the story of Adam and Eve, and you could say, oh, is this a literal story, or did it not really happen? But once you understand the context of when it was written, when the nation of Israel was in, basically they were exiled to Babylon, you could see it differently as a story of, oh, maybe this is a story of Israel's being exiled to Babylon, and Adam represents represents Israel, and Garden of Eden represents Adam represents the people of Israel, and the Garden of Eden represents Israel itself. And you see that story differently once you understand the context of the authors. And so I think there is something to be said about knowing the author of a film and the context of his or her or their situation. It does impact how you see it. And so it almost gives you a dual way of appreciating it. You can appreciate it for what it is by itself, but then you can also appreciate this other aspect of it with regards to knowing the person who wrote it. And then does that make you see things differently once you understand that?
Yeah.
So I think, it's a complex film. People are going to talk about it a lot. I still kind of hope Sinners pulls it out for best. I think it's between these two as of now.
Yeah.
For Best Picture. I have a fear that unless they re-release Sinners again, the people are going to forget about how transcendent that movie was.
So long ago.
Hopefully they'll make a push, because it did so well for the studio that it's like hopefully they'll give like another, hey, if you haven't seen it, go check it out.
October, re-release it. It's a vampire movie.
It's a vampire. I expected actually like a Halloween release.
Yeah.
Totally. But maybe they'll see that as like a cheap publicity stunt as well. So I who knows?
It's the Oscars, though. You got to be cheap, man. You gotta
do whatever you need to do.
Now, Dave, how many times have you seen One Battle?
I've only gotten to see it once.
The one time. Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
And it's interesting, like Ron was saying, if you know a director and how that informs how you receive their work. I realized that I didn't have that many Paul Thomas Anderson movies in my repertoire. I'd seen, what's the oil rig one?
There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood and Boogie Nights. And I had seen nothing else. And I was like, holy smokes. I was like, damn. So the other week I was not feeling well for like a day and a half or something like that. So I kind of did a PTA binge, and I watched Phantom Thread, The Master, and There Will Be Blood back to back, which is not. I don't advise doing that.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
These like crazy white men who just dominate your world and just take over your life.
Right.
And it was like, wow, Paul Thomas Anderson's got kind of a type. And then you flip over and you got Boogie Nights and Licorice Pizza and some of these like light rom-coms.
And
it's like,
Punch Drunk Love was another.
Punch Drunk Love.
Punch Drunk Love, one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
And even though I've only seen it once, and I may have like, I can't remember a line or a specific detail, I can recall the movie reasonably well. I don't feel like I'm stretching I'm not digging that hard to remember it. And I had no idea the time run on it. I thought, it was like a 2-hour movie. That's kind of what they're doing these days. Blew right by. I didn't feel it at all.
Yeah.
I walked out. I was like, whoa, what did I just experience? So, it's, what do we say about Paul Thomas Anderson? That, 10 films, and it just feels like this guy knows who he is now as a creative visionary, and he's just really comfortable in his skin. And one of the things that Anthony and I on our podcast were talking about is there's a ton of homages and tropes and little little things. Like there's like some Jackie Brown in there. There's some Dr. Strangelove in there. There's just all kinds of stuff. You could come up with a lot, but none of it ever feels like he's borrowing that. He's like, oh, I don't know how to get out of this little storytelling trap. So let me just grab this thing that Tarantino did, or that, Kubrick did, or, what somebody else did.
Yeah.
He just really feels like he is comfortable in his skin. And I think when you think about the stuff around women and Black women and radical movements and these kinds of stuff, the discussion's good, but then, he doesn't feel like he's stretching out that far over his skis.
Yeah.
He feels pretty comfortable what he's doing and what he's putting on screen, and the performances that that are coming up with with the actors,
Yeah. And when we were talking earlier, we had mentioned a couple of folks that did really good video essays or Substacks. There's Brooke Obie, who's a Black feminist, and she runs Black Girl Watching. There's also Fantastic Frankie, and we have FD Signifier. But I felt like, they I think it also happened. I think it's Asada Shakur that passed away recently, and it was the week that the movie came out. And she and Brooke Obie, made a whole bunch of parallels. Like, oh, he should have done his research on Black revolutionaries, but I'm just like, okay, but that was after the subsequent watching, I started thinking about. I'm like, well, that was almost 60 years ago. And it's like, this is not her life story. It's not about her per se. And so when I stepped back and said, could these people be this revolutionary type group that's trying to rescue immigrants? And it could be a motley crew of racism folks that we saw in the movie. It didn't rub me as like, oh, they're totally destroying or misrepresenting the movement, from the 60s or whatever, or it's like, this is a whole new day and age. And honestly, Will is 17, 16 in this movie. So if you go back 16 years, we're talking about 2010, 2009. So I mean that that was a whole different time, and up to modern day. We have presumably because have smartphones, we know it's current day. The whole sequence of Lockjaw, excuse me, going after Willa was modern times. So you're only going back like 15 years, and So I don't know, 15, 20 years. So it's still putting us at like 2005 to 2010 when this stuff's going on. It wasn't the late 1960s, or early 70s when the Black Panther was being infiltrated by the CIA and all that stuff and whatnot. So that's where I started thinking maybe some of the criticism isn't quite fair. And then also there was a lot of commentary about Leonardo's character, Bob, or Pat, Ghetto Pat, being infatuated with black women or having the same or similar problems, fetishizing black women. And I thought that was a stretch too. I didn't think that first of all, you can't have it both ways. And I think mentioned this on Dave's podcast. It's like, you can't have beautiful black women, but then when somebody's attracted to them, say, oh, you're black fetishizing. It's like, no, she's a fine ass woman. This, and she's very attractive. Whether she's purple, green, Asian, black, white, it's like they're attractive people. And if you get mad at people for being attracted to them, then what are you saying about black women? They can only be, they're part of the human diaspora. It's like people if they're attractive, they're attractive. And that's not to negate Lockjaw, who's obviously fetishizing her. So there's that.
I want to throw in something too real quick.
Yeah,
about
please.
Tiana Taylor, and even though we only see her on screen for a bit,
22 minutes.
Is that okay? That's the actual.
No, it's longer than 22. Really? No, it's.
No, I don't think so.
Is that actual time she's on screen? Because her sequence before we go to Willa. Yeah,
I think that's her actual screen time.
Gotcha.
Ask the AIs.
Yeah, by my clock time, my wristwatch time, it was 35 minutes before we got to Willa doing her karate with Sensei, where she transitioned. But point taken.
That her presence, even though she's not on screen, is there for the whole movie.
Yeah.
She is a context for everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
And when she is on screen, I don't think her filmography is that deep. I don't know her as an actor as well, but I don't think her filmography compares to Penn's or DiCaprio's or
not at all.
Del Toro's.
Yeah.
But she was matching their energy beat for beat and topping them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In some cases, I mean, to tell Sean Penn to, get a boner and keep it up and be full in on that bit, like fully committed to this character.
Right.
That's an extraordinary performance by any actor. And for her to play that off with those two guys, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. She stepped up and she called her shot and she fucking hit it out of the park.
Yeah. And that's a great point. That she echoes throughout the course of the film. Her character's always there. Everybody's referring back to her. She's the rat.
Yeah. And she's the shadow of her, for her daughter and Bob's lost love.
Yeah.
And the sin of Lockjaw.
Yeah.
And we talk about, is she a good mother, quote unquote good mother? I'm putting that in big scare quotes.
Right.
Is she, talk about how she's a mother, talk about, is she really committed to the revolution and to the ideals? Or is she just a thrill seeker? And in a complex and dynamic movement, you got to have different people doing different things. You got to have your code breaker and the dude who makes the little, you have to have your cue, making the little electronics, and you have to have your Monty Penny or whatever, use whatever frame you want. And she's a charismatic leader who has the taste for the action juice.
Yeah.
And if you need somebody leading the troops, you need somebody who is comfortable pointing a gun at somebody. Not everybody can do that.
Yep.
And so we can, how do we, oh, well, she's this, or she's not that, or she's not really truly committed to the ideals because she rather, there's a lot of things, but I think he takes her on he imagined her character complexly. And I think Tiana Taylor played her complex.
Yeah. It was great to hear her talk afterwards. I was kicking myself because I should have recorded her and Willa at the screening, because they came on after the screening and had a Q&A after we saw it. And
what'd she have to say?
She was, it was funny because her personality is, she's New York, she's straight New York, and she's got that vibe, that urban New York vibe. And so she was great. The one, it's her film and it's her baby, and she did a great job. I always feel like when they have those interviews though, there's like it's more like platitudes or like, yeah, she was really deep, but they don't really dig into how deep she, it's like, yeah, it was deep and this, but it was very vague. So some of the things they were saying, they were short answers and they
after
were,
the game interviews.
Yeah, exactly.
How did you feel? And you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I was just
You
out
know,
there
right.
throwing the ball around.
Well, we did our best, move the chains, one play after another, it's just nothing burgers that, okay.
She's probably answered these questions
Yes.
a million times already.
Yeah, she's probably coming off a press junket.
What's the shortest way I can answer this?
Right. It was but it was fun to hear them, talk. And I was saying, yeah, after, they put their foot in it. All these actors, I thought Chase Infinity was amazing. You talk about, Tiana Taylor, sucking up the screen. This is the first time that Chase Infinity has been in a feature film. So for her to, she talked about her first day on the set with Sean Penn was the scene where she had to trip him and fight when they're in the quarry and he's chasing her around and so that's her first day with him. First day. First scene, first thing they're shooting, that's what she's doing. Then she said the first day of Leonardo was when I believe towards the it was when they're in the house and it was when she was arguing with him about going out or it could have been the scene where they're talking about the mother. There's two scenes. One, she's like getting on his ass about, where were you last night, Bob? How come you didn't come? You didn't get into 3 or whatever. I don't think, or it might have been the one with the mother, but it was one of those scenes. It was her first time with it was an intense scene. I think it was the second one where they're talking about, here's the letter your mother left you. That's a pretty intense scene. Whatever it was two, she has to hold her own against, DiCaprio. And then she only had one day with Benicio when he's doing the karate or judo instruction. But she's got 3 big heavyweights that she's got to contend with, and I thought she did an amazing job. She really, I made note of her. I was like, wow, this kid's got some good chops. So
to give DiCaprio the what for. Even though they're written lines, you're still looking at DiCaprio in the eye.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
These lines.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite actresses, I was, again, with all the press going into it and seeing some of the trailers and stuff, I was hoping there was more screen time for Regina Hall.
Yeah, thank you for being there.
But she was, what she did do, she did well.
Yeah.
I wish there was a little more for her, but, it's fine. It's 2 hours and 50 minutes. I don't know if there needs more in it, but I liked her.
Yeah, and the thing with Infinity said that when Chase, when she was on the set, she said how gracious Regina was, like to take her in under her wing, because Regina's done so much stuff, she's done a ton of movies, so she was there kind of, chaperoning her and helping her just get acclimated to the.
Can we get some Regina Hall and Wood Harris?
Right.
I know.
Something like, where's Wood Harris?
I know.
Wood Harris.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
We need to get some new representation for it.
Yeah.
Like a new management team, or what's going on?
Dude, got to crank out those scripts. What's up, man?
Come on, Wood.
Yeah, that was a crime.
Yeah, for sure.
Wood Harris.
Yep. All right, guys. So what else? What else can we tackle while we're talking here? Ron, you got anything to say?
Ron, any input?
No, I think you guys all covered it pretty well. I would co-sign the thing about Regina Hall. I thought she was going to be in it way more than she was based on the interviews I had seen.
Yeah.
I
her, Tiana Taylor, and Chase Infinity.
And just based on her.
Uh-oh. Now dude's choking up.
Half 30 minutes into the movie, I was wondering, is Regina Hall in this movie? There was, I think the first shot of her is like a 1-second shot when Tiana is pregnant, and they cut to like a face.
No. She's in the beginning when they're breaking the detention center.
When they were breaking them out of the.
Yeah, she's all over the account.
Yeah, and then the bank robbery and all that stuff. Yeah, but that's after the belly.
Women, Ron. Maybe you just don't see black women.
Yeah, so
maybe you're the problem.
I think she could have been more. But I think we've had a good conversation. I think given our technical difficulties, what we've discussed is good. I feel like you've all had to have a great conversation.
I got a question.
Yeah.
I think it is it Adu or
Adu.
Was it
Yeah.
Adu? Did you you were saying something about being a little bit numb to because of the experience that you live,
Right.
and the we've had the way that the policing has been done, and then now with the militarization of policing that's happening,
Right.
like to see those dudes in action, the way that PTA filmed that action scared the shit out of me.
Oh yeah, scary stuff.
Right, like when the dude's like going, oh yeah, we got to go kinetic here, and they go rip the doors off because the one Hispanic kid goes running from the shop or whatever, and just the way that everything was going on. But then you were saying that you're a little numb to that. I was just curious. I was curious to hear some more from your experience.
It's almost like when I see that type of imagery, it's like, oh yeah, that's what I would expect. That's what I would expect a group like this to do. So it's not so much jarring or shocking. It's like, of course they're going to tear the doors off. Of course they're going to C4 Pat's, front door. Right. Of course they're going to drop tear gas, down that tunnel he has. I mean, it's just like, expect an extreme response. And I mean, and Sean Penn's character embodies that. I mean, he is the most extreme character in that movie. I mean, of all the characters, of all the guys in the Christmas Vacation Club, like Sean stands out, as Lockjaw stands out as like, does he even really belong here, or can they even handle him? I mean, and ultimately, they, spoiler alert, they dispose of him, but it's like he never really fit in.
Right.
He didn't fit in. He fit in the military. Like that was that was his environment. He didn't fit in as a white supremacist, and even though he wanted the benefits, and he might have held some of their mentality or philosophy, but ultimately, his sin, betrayed his true feelings to me.
You went after Ron on the other recording because Ron had a question, which I think is a valid question. How much did Lockjaw love Perfidia?
But first, we got to set the stage. Ron is the self-proclaimed romantic. So, like, first of all, Ron is already a simp. So it's like, okay, all right, whatever.
I mean, love. He was definitely infatuated with her.
Yes,
I think and not just physically. I think he admired the power and control over people.
Yeah, he was
wielded.
Like before,
she was a leader like him.
Yeah.
So I think that was part of the.
And you also have to set the table. We're talking about a guy because all these people in this movie are pretty extreme and radical. Everybody. So, but then you have Sean Penn's character, who's a bona fide sociopath and maybe a psychopath. So then when you start talking about love in that context, I'm like, come on, dude, what are we talking about? Just because he didn't even know her. They didn't go out on dates. They didn't get to know each other. It's a piece of ass. It's like quid pro quo. What was it, Clarice?
He just lit his rocket.
She was more more than that to him, though.
But he was psychotic, Ron. Yes, she was. You're right, Ron. You're right. She was true love. True love's purest form.
Well, if you want to put it in a certain box, I think you can almost put it in the box of Lockjaw saw himself as a superior being, as the superior race, so to speak.
Yep.
He saw Tiana as his equivalent for her particular group.
That's interesting.
Like she was a superior example of, that was the woman who he wanted to make superior children with.
Did he though? I don't know. I don't know.
He made one. He wanted to kill him.
Yeah, I don't know that
he wanted to be part of the group, but ultimately, I mean, the way
I think he respected her as a warrior, because there's a line in the film where he says she's a warrior, she's a lioness, especially when he's arguing with Willa. But a lot of the stuff where he's arguing with Willa is control. I felt like he's amping himself up because he knows he wants to kill her. So he's finding everything. You should dress prettier. You should put more makeup on before you go to a dance. It's like, you don't even know her. You met her 2 seconds ago.
He's struggling with the fact that this is his daughter, and there's a part of him, there's a humanity in him that still recognizes that this is my child, and what if I could... What life could this have represented?
Well, she was the actual love child of the very passionate, lovely relationship, Ron, that Perfidia and Lockjaw had.
completely mischaracterized.
No, they were in love. I'm going to say they were in love. They're madly in love and passionate about each other, and she was the result of their beautiful love relationship, and they talked about children. When they went out to eat at the restaurant, they were talking about children. Went on vacation together, when they got to know each other. And we brought the flowers to the house before battering rammed in the door. Those lovely type things.
Catalog at drapes and carpets.
Yeah, exactly.
Decorate the house.
Walking to IKEA, getting the baby room ready. All that stuff.
He's looking at cubic zirconia catalog. I'm just saying, even a sociopath can have love emotion.
That's the name of this. That's the name of this podcast. Even a sociopath could have love connection. That's the name. That's the title of this show.
By the way,
by Ron Dawson.
Get lonely too.
Right.
Wow.
The fact that you started a sentence with even a sociopath.
Right.
Now,
Even a sociopath can have a podcast. Right.
Well, we know some that do. So
I was about to say. Then again, the definition of sociopaths is they don't care about anybody.
Yeah.
A psychopath doesn't care about a specific person. They're psycho for specific. Sociopath doesn't care about society. They don't.
I thought he was kind of in the mix on all that. I mean, he would change. I mean,
he cared about white society and being part of and being accepted by white society.
Right. And I think that a sociopath is kind of like you know what's wrong, but you and so the thing is like to today's point, he cared about white society and getting into the Christmas Adventures Club, but everybody else is, hey, fuck them. This is what I do. I'm gonna round them up. They're all animals, and they're gonna get rounded up and shipped out of our country.
Right. You could debate whether or not he was a clinical sociopath, psychopath. He's one of the paths for sure.
He might not have checked all the boxes, but he checked.
And it's a sliding scale, it's a spectrum, right? It's not like he was cutting people up and putting body parts in a refrigerator, but he he had somewhere on the spectrum he's off. He's not like he wasn't normal. He wasn't your average Joe.
The part where the movie kicked into a different gear for me is when they were hunting down the French 75, and I think it was Alana Haim, the Haim sisters.
Yeah.
When she ducked out that back door, bam! And I was just like, holy shit. I was like, not expecting. I jumped out of my chair and I was like, oh shit, this is where he's going with this, right? This is what he's saying is that extrajudicial killings are on the menu for these people, and this is what. Yeah,
that's where the movie got real, because until that time we had seen, the most intense thing was when she shot the security guard.
Right.
Some character we don't know or whatever. But up until that point, we saw Sean Penn with his boner being dragged out, so that's already satirical and funny, and then. You have all the absurdist, and you have all the other crazy stuff going on with all the capers they're doing, all the heists they're pulling off, whatever. But then as they start tightening the noose on this group, that lets you know, hey, this is where the story's going.
Well, once she shoots the security guard, that also kind of kicks off all of the violence, because
up
until that point they hadn't really killed anyone. They bombed buildings when they were empty.
It took it to another level.
Yeah, so once she committed murder, then I feel like the response was, okay, well, we have to respond with violence, extreme violence.
At one point, and so we have a whole bunch of layered things, from and not just the Black Panthers, but things centered around the Middle East and things centered around I'm trying to think of all of them. Like the Weathermen. There was back in the 70s, like the Weathermen and other I'm trying to like run.
Yeah.
I'm feeling there, but is there an escalation in with groups who take radical action, and do you end up getting there where you could call in the bomb threat, but then somebody's gonna and say, hey, evacuate the building, this is a real bomb threat, versus, oh yeah, we're doing this robbery and something goes wrong and somebody actually gets killed, and then that changes the whole equation. And when people get tired of that, when society is like, no, we don't want anything to do with this anymore.
Yeah, and it can be a situation where those other things are can be seen as purely political, putting bombs in the courthouse or whatever. Right. But when you're robbing a bank and you shoot the security guard, now you're Jesse James. Now you're just, now you're a bank robber versus, and I know that the justification is, well, we need money for the cause or whatever. But it felt, especially the speech that Black Pussy gives when she's, marching on top of the desk. Like, Jungle Pussy, sorry. She's like, Jungle Pussy. She's, not afraid to wear a mask. We're taking this money. This is my money. And she makes, proclamations. It started to slip away from the political a little bit,
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, gentlemen, I think we've had a good little conversation here.
Let me add this though from everybody, because we fall in this trap of ripping on PTA, but let's go around and say what we like. So maybe quick things about what we really dug about the film. I think it'd be cool to end on a good note at least.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I think for most of us, we've been saying that we thought that the film was something that really makes you think. It's one that generates conversation. Acting was on point. I think Benicio, Leo, Tiana, I think they're all deserving of some type of award recognition in this. Even Chelsea, a little bit she was in there. I thought the cinematography was obviously really good. The use of music. None of us have talked about the use of music. The use of music, the score in this, the way it had a sense of create that sense of anxiety, that sense of something is going on. The first time I watched it actually kind of bothered me. The second time, I think I appreciated it for what it was doing beneath the discordance that it created for me. So I thought its use there was well and was good. And, it's the kind of art piece that when you think about what transgressive art can do, this is one of those pieces. It stirs up conversation. It gets people on both sides of the of ideologies having really hard conversations. We've seen examples of Black women. We think it's an excellent portrayal of Black women, and we have another Black woman who thinks it's trash. And so, whenever art can do that, I tip my hat off to it.
Cool, Javon, what you think, man?
It was an all around. It was a filmmaker's movie because it had a certain perspective. It was an actor's movie because it had so many different roles and they got to chew.
Right.
It was an audience film because there were so many, pleasing parts, not just the think piece part, but they were just entertaining parts. I'm still hoping for Sinners, but I would understand if this gets the lion's share of everything. And I do think it was a great film. It was constructed well. It could have been tighter, as JD mentioned, but I wouldn't exactly know what to cut. Somebody would have to sit there and figure that out. I'm sure there is stuff. And it's a good film when it was a great film and you still wanted more. Like I said, I wanted more Regina King, wanted more Wood Harris, wanted more some of this, but it was still a pretty great film. So that's my part.
I do.
It definitely could have been tighter. It's funny that Javon says, well, he feels it was well constructed. I thought it was a little all over the place at times. It feels a little scatterbrained at times, but it comes together. It ultimately comes together But I think those are also the areas, like JD alluded to earlier, where you could have made trims. Like it could have been tighter, and maybe it wouldn't have felt as, you know, at times. It doesn't feel that way throughout. I thought the performances were really good. I'm not, I'm, you know, I'm hot and cold with PTA. I love some of his movies, and others I can't watch. It's like a waste of my time. So he's hit or miss with me. I thought this was overall a hit with me. It is a filmmaker's film. It's a good example of good art. I feel like it makes you think. It makes you, you know, it fosters discussion and debate, and which is always good. So overall, I thought it was a hit.
Cool. And then I've already talked ad nauseum, so I'm gonna let Dave, our guest, get the last little bit on what his feelings on the film, the positive stuff he liked.
Thanks. Again, thanks for the invitation. This was fun. I hope we can get together and roast Ron again some more in the future.
He's already fitting right in.
That's you know, I love you, Ron. You know, you're my guy. You're my guy. I think what kind of blows me away. Exactly. I got a friend in LA. I'm on the East Coast, you're on the West Coast, but hey, you know, at least you're not in Canada. Shouldn't we all be in Canada though? Yeah. 20 years in the making blows me away that this guy, and I feel you do I'm hot or cold on Paul Thomas Anderson. No question, he's one of our great filmmakers that we've been able to have access to. But yeah, I'm not always like, ooh, The Master, like great movie, but I'm not watching that again, I don't think. But then you think about how long he held that creative vision, and yeah, it's based on a Pynchon book, so there's a bunch of material there that he can hold on to. But he worked at this creative vision for a long time, and then he expanded the boundaries of filmmaking again, and you know, using VistaVision, you know, and using a film. It's not all VistaVision; it's some 35 and some VistaVision, but practical set. You know, just doing a lot of tried and true filmmaking, and doing it well, and having a creative vision, and then it's fresh and it's relevant and it's eye-opening for a modern context. But then it's like really intense material, and then so he uses absurdism and humor to leaven those strong flavors and those really disturbing topics, and then we can kind of laugh at it. And we can go, oh yeah, Christmas Adventurers, and they have these deep tunnels, and they're dug in, and they have a lot of control, and all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, they're kind of goofy, and you can actually defeat them. And so, as much as he's scaring us and sort of reminding us of, you know, there's a reality out there that we need to pay attention to. Hope is not lost. Like, there is a hopeful message to this. And to see Willa's character, you know, to see Chase Infinity, you know, cycling forward. And so, yeah, so it's this creative vision. It's this use of absurdism, and then this message of hope. Because some of his films are not hopeful. And you're just kind of like, whoa, wow, that's emotionally devastating. Right. It was really great, but I do not hope for the future. And this movie kind of gave me some of that, like, okay. Right. You know, there's a continuum here. There's a life cycle that goes on, and all is not lost. So I kind of left the movie feeling a little bit buoyed, even though I was shook in a lot of ways. And that's a hard thing to balance. That is a really, really hard thing to balance. At the same time, just making a damn good looking movie.
Yeah. So. Well said. Well, Dave, where can they let everybody know how they can find you or see your stuff?
Yeah. So I am on Blue Sky. I don't know what my handle is.
Wow.
I'm not on there that much.
Just look up Dave when you go to Blue Sky. Look up Dave. Dave Mark, and you'll find him.
There's only one.
Find
There's
us-
only one.
If you search for the Lorehounds on Blue Sky, you'll find our main program account. And then I have two other main hosts. Sorry, not co-hosts, but two other main hosts, Alicia and John. We're pretty TV forward podcast. We put out 3 to 4 podcasts a week when we're running full tilt. We just wrapped up on Foundation. I was covering Alien Earth. That's how JD and Ron is. Ron's been on our podcast a number of times. He and I have talked about a bunch of TV and movie before. And then we had you and JD on for Alien Earth. And then I think Alicia just finished up Peacemaker with one of our co-hosts, Jean. We got some stuff coming up for the future. I'm going to be covering what is it called? Pluribus. That's the new Vince Gilligan starting in November.
Oh, wow.
And I think John and Alicia might be covering the Welcome to Derry stuff. And there's some other things. So thelorehounds.com is our website. And just on podcast applications, you can just search for The Lorehounds. We have a little network. We got other people with other shows that we sponsor, that we sort of umbrella. So if you hit the website, you can see all that kind of stuff. So
Cool. All right.
Nice.
All right, fellas. Well, that was a good little discussion. Ron, you want to sign us off?
Oh my God.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
mute.
There's no audio coming from you.
There's no audio from you, dude. You-
Marcel.
Sorry.
Wow, he had the mute button on. Wow.
I'm sorry.
Run. You're trapped in a box.
What did I say that was
trapped in a box.
You're trapped in a box. How do you get out?
I was like, what did I say that was that funny?
Oh, it's
Nothing. Yeah. Even when you don't speak, you're hilarious.
right.
Push my way out.
Sign us off, man.
Anyway, do all the YouTube things. I hope you guys like and share and subscribe. Let's see if we get those numbers up. Let's see if we can get to 100
Double digits.
subscribers.
Reach double digits.
You're double digit subscribers.
13. Let's get to the teams.
That would be great.
Yeah. No, one of these is going to take off, and we won't know what to do. But yeah, thanks everyone. Thank you again, Dave, for coming on.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it. And until next time, peace.
Peace. All right, everybody. Take care. Be safe.
Later.
See ya.